One. Good evening and welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube. I'm your host, Doug Engler. Joining me in the co-hosty, as always, is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling.
Good evening.
And we want to remind everybody that Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you tonight by Home Circle Media for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationery, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out homecirclemedia.com today or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. We're also brought to you tonight by Casey Fox. For all of your artwork, commission, and cosplay needs, be sure to check out Casey Fox, that's KAYCIFOXX, on Facebook and Instagram. Again, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Anime-Zing Radio. Our scheduled guests originally were supposed to be Godswillaga Jr. and Mario Bueno, but due to scheduling conflicts with New York Comic-Con, which has been going on this weekend, they both had to postpone to a later date. So tonight, Darren and I are going to be talking about some of the shows that are coming out, stuff we're excited about. The fall season has hit hard. A lot of great shows coming out. Also, we have another top 10 that we decided we wanted to do tonight for all of you awesome fans out there. So hopefully you enjoy our top 10 favorite Isekai protagonists. Again, we're Isekai trash, so of course we had to do something Isekai related. Blame Darren. I do want to take a moment for a serious and somewhat sad note. This weekend, anybody who has been to Anime Boston, especially the Masquerade over the last 10 years, knows how awesome of a job Rhodey did as the MC for the Masquerade. Unfortunately, yesterday he did lose his battle with cancer and passed away. So, heartfelt sympathies go out to all of his friends, family, the whole Anime Boston community, because that's a home convention for me and my wife for years. We've gone to it. I've probably been there 7 times, 8 times. We were in the Masquerade once, and really sad that, though I didn't know him personally, there's always these people who show up at conventions that are just bigger than life. He was definitely one of those people. The crowd loved him. People would go to the Masquerade just for his energy. And it is a huge, huge loss to Anime Boston's, the family and friends of him as well, of course. And, speaking as a fan of Anime Boston's convention itself, it is definitely really, really sad news. And I think we would like to take a moment of silence in his memory tonight. Now, on to better things. Good shows coming out. I know last week I talked to you, Darren, a little bit about, I'd gotten an email talking about some of the best and worst animes that had come out in the summer, and one of the shows that got a lot of attention from the Anime News Network writers was a show called Love Live, and I'm trying to remember exactly which version of Love Live it was. I think it was on Funimation that had it. I have to look back. I think Funimation might have had it. I don't know, maybe it was Crunchyroll. I think it was like Love Live Superstar or something like that. And after having heard so many people talk about it, I had to go and watch it because I like my musical animes. Granted, the original Love Live was fantastic. Love Live Sunshine was really good as well. And then there was 2 that had come out between Sunshine and Superstar. I couldn't get through those 2. And, of course, the wonders of sirens going by. Something's going on out there. That was police car number 2. And 3. Wonderful. Gotta love New York. And but I to give you an idea of if I thought this show was pretty good, I binged 10 episodes in 2 nights.
Oh my.
I will be honest, it's not as good as the original Love Live, which I think a lot of times when these shows get so big, they spawn a lot of spin-offs. A lot of times the spin-offs are never as good as the original. I will say, and I was just about to touch on that, Kaya. Kaya says, Superstar has been awesome, loving the song so much. The songs might be the best in the Love Live franchise that I have heard. They're very catchy. They're so much fun. I love the songs that have come out in this. I know, Darren, that you haven't had a chance to check it out between work schedule and all the other shows you're trying to catch up with. But definitely at least look into the music.
Can't even do that until I get out of the house.
Well, don't do that till after you get off the show. But
I know. I was trying to make a joke since I just dropped my keys.
You're seeing it live here as Darren is trying to get into his house by throwing his keys on the ground. And
pretty much.
And I knew it was you. Kaya is our good friend Rob. Rob has been a good friend of ours for years. We met him by sharing a hotel room once. And then ever since that, we have always hung out at the cons. When you come up, Darren, I'm definitely going to be introducing you to Rob. Rob is our Love Live expert.
Okay.
At some point,
I know you said that you had a guy that was like Love Live nuts.
Oh, this guy is our Love Live expert. If it's Love Live related, he's on the ball with it. And so, curious, Rob, would you say that Superstar is even with or better than Love Live Sunshine? I'm curious to see what he says about that before I say where I put it. Because I know he's seen everything. He goes to the idol competitions at the conventions. He collects a lot of the figures and things like that. Hanamaru is still my favorite character. But that also might be some bias. And I agree with this. Superstar is better than Sunshine. I do put that up there. I do put that better than Sunshine. Not as good as the original because the original paved the way. A lot of the storylines you could kind of see happening, but I like the fact that unlike most of the other shows, other Love Live shows, where a lot of them are the school's going to close, let's start a school idol group and try to save the school. This one here, they just want to be idols for the sake of being idols, and then they find out, more important stuff. So it's been a pretty good show. Tonight, thinking of our top 10 Isekai protagonist list, I was doing a little research this morning, and a show I had wanted to check out but never actually started. I decided to watch a couple episodes before coming on the air tonight. You might have heard of this show. Didn't I say to make my abilities average in my next life?
I started it, did not finish it.
I got 3 episodes in tonight. Just finished the third episode about 15 minutes before the start of the show. Been kind of interesting so far and kind of bland at the same time, which is weird to say.
And it makes sense to me.
Like, if you see enough Isekai, you can kind of figure out what's going to happen.
She's going to be overpowered even though she don't want to be. And people are going to start attracting to her.
And she gets all the unwanted... Like, it almost has the killing slimes for 300 years feel to it. I just want to be boring, normal, and not care about anything. Oh, look, I am strong. Look, I'm attracting all this unwanted attention.
It's kind of funny. I saw something earlier today. What would have happened and visualize what killing slime for 300 years. What was the main protagonist's name again? I forget.
Let me look back because I think I wrote that down.
It wasn't Haruka because that was the
Azusa.
Azusa. Yes, not. There was some Isekai group that Facebook was trying. You know how Facebook will sometimes show you groups that might be of interest to you, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
One of the posts from that was like, imagine if Azusa had met Rimaru around the work disaster saga.
That would have been an interesting battle.
Yeah. So that was before Rimaru started to get a little OP.
Mm-hmm. That definitely would have been an interesting battle. Would Rimaru have come back as one of the spirits and become her daughters? You never know.
Yep.
Or imagine if Rimaru was in By the Grace of the Gods, where Ryoma became friends with all the slimes, learned how to crossbreed slimes, and create new ones.
Oh, Lord.
You never saw that one, did you?
No, started, never finished, I think.
That was actually a pretty cute one. As isekais go, that one was nice. I enjoyed that one for the sheer fact it wasn't an OP character. I mean, yeah, he had some OP abilities, but for the most part, he was a young kid. He figured out how to tame slimes. He figured out how to become friends with them and how to use their abilities and help people because of it.
Okay.
And they have a really cute female character in there who's an adventurer. So I was like, I want to see who this character is. It's another one of those animes I watched because I looked at the picture and was like, some of these characters are cute. Let's see what this show's about. Kind of like Drugstore in Another World. I had to, because of Little Wolf Girl, I had to watch it to see who she was and what the story was behind her. At this point in our lives, Darren, I think when we're watching anime, we have to find something that intrigues us because there's so many cookie cutter shows out there, especially in the isekai genre.
Pretty much. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I'll be browsing through Facebook, and if I see an interesting post out of a manga or even something off of hentai or something, I'll be kind of inclined to save the screenshot of whatever. That way I can go back and find it later because it piqued my interest.
And I got to scroll back through here on Facebook because Marissa Lenti had posted earlier that she has a new role that she could announce. She is voicing the cat in the newest dub episode of The Duke of Death and His Maid. So another feline for Marissa Lenti.
Another show I've been meaning to check out because I heard incredible things about it. Everyone said that what's his face was one of the best characters of the season.
I've heard good things about it. I think my wife has been watching that, and so I think that she was saying I needed to check that out, and she's been on my case about watching Jobless Reincarnation, which I haven't started yet. I've watched all these other shows, but I haven't started that one. A lot of people, I saw a lot of lists that had Jobless Reincarnation in like top 10 for Isekai Protagonists, the main character from that. So it's on my list. We all have our lists.
Yep. Yep.
It's just when can we get to them?
Yep. You need to be old school Dragon Ball and go to the hyperbolic time chamber, where 24 hours on the outside is a year on the inside.
Oh, good God. You might be able to watch Dragon Ball in that time. Maybe.
That or One Piece.
I don't
or
know if
Conan.
I don't know if you'd be able to catch up on One Piece. Aren't they over 1,000 episodes on One
They're
Piece now?
they're 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 coming up right up on 1,000 episodes. Pokemon's had right around 1,000 episodes. Conan's approaching 1,000 episodes. Dragon Ball has like between the original GT and Dragon Ball itself was like 500 and something, and then Super added almost another 200. So total Dragon Ball related stuff plus movies is like 700 plus episodes plus like 20 something movies.
So Dragon Ball, a total of 804 episodes as of January 12th, 2017.
Oh yeah, that's also Dragon Ball also has their little game they're promoting, and they have a little anime short to promote the game.
And 19 movies. 987 was what I saw when I Googled episodes for One Piece.
Yep.
So good God.
Yep. And what about Conan?
I didn't even want to look. Let's see here. Detective Conan. Detective Conan episode count. So it is 900 plus episodes.
They don't even bother to. They just say, "Oh, it's 900 plus."
That's what it says. It says there are currently 900 plus episodes that have already aired. So it's unbelievable. Let's see. May 27th, 2021. Case closed. Detective Conan, 1,006 episodes.
Yep. So it just crossed the 1,000 episode mark.
Caramba. My goodness. That's a lot of episodes. And Rob in the chat says, no way you could catch up to One Piece. What if I started where Anthony Bowling took over the directing? Episode 600 something. Forget the whole start of it. Nobody cares. We'll see what happened from here on out. How does Anthony do it? God. What was the stat that I saw the other? Did you post a stat that like if you watched every One Piece opening, you would have spent like one day and like 7 hours of just watching openings?
I'm not surprised.
Was that you who sent that link, or was that somebody else?
That was somebody else. That most definitely was not me. I'm not a One Piece person.
Or maybe I just saw it on. I could have just seen it scrolling through Facebook. You never know.
Probably did.
And it's just ridiculous to think if you watch that many that you've spent over a day of your life just watching the opening for a series.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Rob says he thinks he may have shared it on Facebook. So blame Rob. You know, being music based, it doesn't surprise me. And you know, we're excited tonight. We're gonna have fun. We do have a top 10 list that we're gonna get ready to start here in just a moment. Knowing that there are so many fall dubs that are coming out this season, just on Funimation alone, they have One Piece continuing, Jobless Reincarnation Season 2, Ranking of Kings, Platinum End, Banished from the Heroes Party. I decided to live a quiet life in the countryside. I might check that one out. I won't lie. It's kind of like one of those Gamer Quest, RPG style animes that have really caught my interest in the past. So it could be kind of fun. The vampire dies in no time. No idea what that is. Don't know if I want to check that out or not. Scarlet Nexus. The artwork looks pretty intriguing in this one. Irina, the vampire cosmonaut. Talking about sending a vampire into space. I think we talked about that one on the preview show, Darren. I don't know if that would be one that I would check out or not. My wife said she wants to check out My Senpai is Annoying. Miruku-chan. That's one that has gotten a lot of talk lately. And some good, some bad. It's about a girl who can see dead people and just chooses to ignore them and try to carry on a normal life, which I might check it out because from what I was hearing, it was supposed to be a horror anime that they kind of took and put a comedy twist on. So it's got a lot of people bashing the series and bashing some of the directors and stuff who have changed what people really expected the show to be. Of course, Yashahime, the second act is coming out. The Hike story. Rumble Garandal. I have no idea what that is. That looks kind of chaotic from the picture. Drowning Sorrows in Raging Fire. Tasho Otome Fairy Tale. An anime called Obey Me is coming out. Lucifer, Satan, and the other 5 princes of hell. How will these brothers handle everyday life at their demon academy? No idea about that one. Of course, one that we talked about, the girls ice hockey anime is going to be out. It's simulcasting on Wednesdays on the Funimation site. Mute King, the dance hero. We have Amium, Warrior at the Borderline. Not sure what that is. Ancient Girls Frame. I'm kind of looking at like the pictures of these characters, and it's giving me what. Like I'm looking at these characters, and it's like I've seen a lot of them in other animes. And not like an Isekai quartet type of matchup. It's like, okay, well, they just took girls from different genres and just put them together. Card Fight Vanguard has another version coming out. Selection Project was another one that I was thinking of looking into. Which that was about using music for courage and trying to become an idol. Oops, I didn't mean to actually click on it. But knowing me and the music animes, I tend to like. Tesla Note is out right now, simulcasting on Sundays. Kingdom Season 3 and The Defective. So those are all the new shows that are coming out Funimation side. So if you're interested in checking those out, go ahead and do so. Let us know what you think of the shows that you're checking out. And also, if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 200 subscribers by the end of the year. Once we hit the 200 subscriber mark, we are going to be doing a giveaway where one lucky fan gets to sit in the co-host seat for a voice actor interview. Of course, voice actor will be to be announced as we continue to get more guests. Also, be sure to hit the like button on the videos. It lets YouTube know that this is a good video and helps promote it to others. So, Darren, are you ready to start some of the top 10 list?
Just about.
He is just about there. He has been diligently working between breaks and just getting home now to finish his top 10 list. And I won't lie, this was a lot difficult than it may seem. Especially when I filled up almost a full page of isekais that I had watched. And I forgot a lot. There's a lot on there that I didn't even put on here. Because after I wrote all these down, my wife's like, oh, well, what about this one? or this one, or this one. And I'm like, oh crap, forgot about those. Which also went into my thinking of if I forgot about them, then how much did I like? They were enjoyable, but they didn't stick in my mind for one reason or another, where all of those did. And of course, I have some of these. Darren, you and I may have some of the same. I'm curious to see where you put a few that I think will be on your list. But I did throw a couple in there that I don't think a lot of people would put on their list. So this is going to be interesting. I also have. Do you have any ties on yours? Because I do not.
So far, no.
I didn't allow for ties on mine this time. A lot of times we're like, oh, I couldn't decide between this or this, or this is a 1A and a 1B.
So in other words, they were actually distinguishable enough to not rank them together.
Yes. And like I said, there are so many out there I didn't even put in. And I think I wrote down a couple that were like questionable as was it Isekai or not. Because like I'd written down Bafuri, but I don't think that technically classifies as an Isekai because she's just playing a video game through most of the show, but it has the Isekai feel.
Same thing with Sword Art Online. I wouldn't classify that either.
And the hidden dungeon only I can enter, I had written that one down, and then I realized that was a world that he was born in. He wasn't, I don't believe he was isekai'd into that. And I don't think you've seen it, so you should see it, though. All I will say about the hidden dungeon only I can enter, think of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon meets DxD on with the perviness.
I thought you were gonna say Shin My Mao No Testament.
No, the perviness in this, it's like this is what Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon could be if Issei had balls. Or not Issei, Belle Crenel had balls.
About to say
Issei's got the ball. And he's got the harem to show for it.
Exactly.
So, also, if you're out there watching, if you saw our special that we did Tuesday night and want us to do more of those type of shows, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat room. Let us know on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Anime-Zing Radio. Let us know that you enjoyed those. We want to do more games like that. We have some ideas, including one where my wife wants to do artwork and we have to guess the character. Which that could be kind of fun and scary at the same time. Especially after seeing the list on Smash or Trash as to what she came up with. I know there was some interesting compilations that she had come up with, and I love the fact. And Darren, it took a lot. Like we had no idea who was on the list, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Felix was the last one to come up, how hard was it for you to not say anything and let Jeremy take the bullet?
It was actually pretty easy, not gonna lie, because I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna spoil this, but the fact he actually fell for it.
He's into anime, but he's only watched some of the mainstream stuff. He hasn't delved into it as deep as we have. Unfortunately, this weekend, my wife was feeling under the weather last night, or we were going to have people over for game and anime night. But the fact that he fell for the Felix trap from ReZero and he came right out. Oh, she's pretty cute. Yeah, I would. Oh, it's like, oh my god. I will be honest. When I saw Felix come up, it took a lot for me not to say something.
I had even had to hold back my laughter, which was something.
I mean, we lost it when he said Smash.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the hardest I've heard you laugh on this show. Where he's
Really?
like, I'd smash that, and you and I both just lost it.
About to say, did Casey lose it too,
Oh, she
or?
did. She lost it too. I could I have headphones, and when she was in the other room with the door closed, I could hear her laughing, not just over the mic or over the headphones. I could hear her outside of the headphones.
About to say, and who was it that spilled the beans that was a guy? Was it me or you?
I did after he said smash.
What and his face? How did it react?
Oh, he went, wait, what? Like the look of shock was priceless. And because the way that we had done that was, she would post a picture of the character, and if we knew the character, we would give, where he didn't know anything about the said characters or shows or things like that, we would give a little description of the character. And I basically was like, this is a character from ReZero. And that was about all I said. Because I didn't want to give it away. After he said smash, I said, his name is Felix. That's when it set in. After we were done laughing and everything. And he's like, wait, why is everybody laughing? He was confused that we were laughing. And then I'm like, his name is Felix. That's when it set in. He's like, wait, no. The classic trap strikes again.
Yep.
Which I think the next time we do it, she's going to tone back to about 20 characters. Just because it took us like 3 hours to get through 51. That was a long show.
At one point, we had 5 of us, so.
And, big thank you to our friend Julia Coelho, who joined us and really took us off the
just derailed everything per se.
It's a good thing that we're not monetized yet, or that video probably would have demonetized us.
Or would have been put behind the age restriction.
But I'm looking forward to doing more shows like that, because that really was fun, and there are so many more characters out there that we could go with. And I'm sure you were happy that your waifu was part of that list.
Yes, I was surprised she didn't put Rias, though, because Rias is more or less become the standard waifu category that you see talked about among anime fans.
Of course, 02 was on the list as well.
Yep.
But there was a lot of other ones that were like, afterwards, after we got off the air, we're like, well, you could have done this one and this one. And she's like, well, we can always do another one.
Indeed, we could.
So, are you ready to do the top 10?
Yes, just let me do this. Allow mic cam, mute. Perfect. Sorry, I'm gonna be pulling up my computer because I'm actually gonna put on display the characters I'm talking about to give visual thing to the show.
Ah, sweet. I need to figure out how to do that.
Well, you about to say she was doing it the other day, so is your video card still not working on your?
I don't have a video card.
Let's see. What should I put for my display name?
I don't know.
I got it.
I wonder if I can. So if I do share screen,
would you be able to?
Entire window. So let's do a window. So let's see what this would look like. So I would have to do that. Okay. So anything I wanted to share, I would have to do in that one. Okay, that'll work. So there we go. I think we've got it figured out now. Trying some new stuff out live here on Anime-Zing Radio. Of course, big thank you to everybody who's tuning in tonight. Thank you to Rob. Hopefully, we got some others who are joining us as well. I know we're going to have a lot of fun tonight with this top 10 list. And the fact that we're going to be adding some video to it, I think it's going to be kind of fun. So, you said you are ready to go?
I think so. If you look at my thing, what is it sharing right now? I can't see.
Right now, you have got, it looks like a WordPad.
Okay. Yeah, that was where I was actually listing out the shows. Now that I actually got home and had time to list out every single isekai I'd seen.
And for those of you who want to see, he's got all of that. Like 6 of them.
I'd say I got about 20 of them.
Of the ones that I have seen, or the ones I could remember, I might still have you beat.
I think you've seen more isekai than I have.
I am true isekai trash.
Pretty much.
So I will start off while Darren is getting the photos ready for his list here. Number 10 on my list is from an anime that came out last season, I believe, and really enjoyed it. Talked about it a little bit earlier on about the shows that I watched because characters look cute, and it is Drugstore to Another World. And of course, I'm talking about Reiji. Now he was a fun character. One of the annoyances is it had a, like this scene here, the picture that you see here of Reiji holding up the 2 vials and the little fairies in the corner. They always had this little musical interlude that would play every time that he would be making something, and it was like that's like my only qualm about the show is it got tiring after a while of just seeing the same thing over and over again. It's kind of like the magic. It's like the Alchemist's version of a magical girl transformation scene. But the anime itself was actually pretty good. I enjoyed a lot of it. There was a lot of good comedy in there. Definitely a character that was worthy of making the top 10 list. I don't think he would make many protagonist lists because the anime is just very meh. And from what I've heard, a lot of people said it was different from what the manga and light novels were. So I enjoyed it. So I thought that Reiji was worthy of being on the list. And what about you, Darren?
Let's see. For number 10, I'm going to, let's see. Sorry, here, I lost my trail of thought. I'm going to have to go with, what was the guy's name from Ari Sparta? Having to Google the names while actually watching while I'm doing these lists is Hajime. That's Hajime. What it was. Yes, from Ari Fuerta, from Commonplace to World's Strongest. You got your basic isekai protagonist transported into another world with a bunch of his classmates, and they have to save mankind. This guy has the least useful ability and is basically left for dead. And through basically the same thing as Maple, eating his way out of several situations, he ends up becoming quite an OP character. And eventually starts running the dang show and befriends a demon lord, or a vampire, I should say, that has demon lord status. Ends up befriending a bunny girl.
That's why you like it.
And then some. Oh, and a dragon.
That's cool.
Let me pull up this picture here.
So we will have a picture up momentarily. And if you have some of your favorite male protagonists from the Isekai genre and you're tuning in tonight, throw them in the chat room. We'd love to see what you're into, what shows you've enjoyed, what you would put in your list of top 10 favorite or top 10 favorite Isekai protagonists, not necessarily male. It just seems that there are a lot of males who get isekai'd in the anime. You don't see as many females. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Not a whole lot of female. Come on. Full screen it. Oh, well. Okay, while Google B is playing difficult, let's just go ahead and do this. Yes, share screen.
Hit that button, that button, and that button.
Yep. He's got one eye, per se. Because he's a badass.
So
there's his teacher right here. There's his dragon friend. There's his vampire friend. And there's his bunny girl.
Of course. Yeah, we should have you do a top 5 favorite bunny girls. That could be a fun list in the future.
True, but we already know who's number 1, so the other 4 would be the surprise.
So we will bring that down. Number 9 on the list. I've already gone through and pulled up number 9. This was an interesting anime. And this was an anime I probably wouldn't have watched if it wasn't for Isekai Quartet. To be completely honest. Because I didn't find it all that much intriguing. Just based off of the artwork and the synopsis that I had read and stuff. I was like, I don't think that this would be fun. And then I saw them mixed in with other isekais and Isekai Quartet. And I was like, I know there's a lot of hidden jokes in there that I'm not getting. So I should check out all these other shows that are a part of it, which is what led me to watch Overlord, which is another isekai I probably wouldn't have normally watched. Konosuba I watched because of Isekai Quartet. The time that I had watched Isekai Quartet, the only of the one of the 4 shows I had actually seen was ReZero. So because of one anime, I watched 3 others that were a part of it. The other one that I checked out was Saga of Tanya the Evil. Of course, Tanya had to make the list because she is just such a badass character. Like, this little 10-year-old girl thrown in war just goes out there and annihilates. I mean,
using what she learned off of World War One from her original world.
Yep.
Because that's basically what this war is very similar to, with just a magical enhancement added to the table.
So I didn't feel right if I didn't include Tanya on this list. What about you? What do you got for your number 9?
Um, the one that everyone's been giving hate to, our main character from Jobless Reincarnation. Uh, what is this kid's name again? The fact I haven't started watching season 2 is driving me nuts. But Rudy, that's what it was. Major props to him. He's basically reincarnated into another world. As a kid, he learns he has power. There's magic in this world. The kid is literally 10 years old in the show by the time the main story takes place. He's being sent off to train with someone his father once knew. He's basically one of the strongest people in the village in terms of his magic. He's using real world stuff that he knew to level up in this world. And on top of that, everyone calls it the original Isekai because you got someone that's basically the loser of society, a shut-in neat that nobody likes, gets killed while going out for a walk. I forget what happens to him, and he gets reincarnated as this kid with a brand new chance at life, and also naturally he is a pervert. His whole family is.
So it's just a whole family of perverts?
Basically, there's perverted and then there's the gray rats. Long story short, his father was well off enough to where they had a maid in the house and his wife, and the maid eventually comes forward saying she's pregnant, and he's like, "Oh, I think that's mine." On top of being a womanizer, he's gone after several other women in his past. The person he sent to train under he sends his son to train under is someone that he went after also, despite her being a beast woman.
Interesting. I know that you have told me I need to check this show out, and my wife has told me I should watch it. It's on my list, and at some point I will start getting to this list and knocking some shows out. I promise. It's just when.
Mm-hmm. So, despite all the flack this kid's given, he's made enough effort. He earns a spot on my list.
So, number 8 on the list here, and I kind of went, a newer show, a show that I really enjoyed, but not a lot of people gave it, I think, a second glance, just because it was another isekai in the time when there were probably 5 other isekais that came out at the same time that were considered better. But by the grace of the gods, was still a really damn good anime. Cute story, guy. I forget what happened, how he's transported into this world. Is brought into a world in an 8-year-old's body, has to live by himself for 3 years, where he makes up a story about, he was raised by his grandparents. They died when he was 8. He's lived on his own for 3 years, learned how to tame slimes. And of course, I'm talking about Ryoma. Again, another kid. This one's more of a wholesome based anime than it is like he's got a lot of powers. I wouldn't exactly say he's overpowered, but I mean, he can do some pretty cool stuff. But his knowledge is like his most dangerous weapon, because he's learned how to not just tame slimes, but study them and learn how to create new mixed breeds by, having them mate. And, instead of a slime that just is sticky and a slime that does this. He's got cleaning slimes that can eat dirt and sludge off of stuff. He's got slimes that can wash dishes and do laundry and just really, really crazy things that when most people think of slimes, they're just this lowly level, starter monster that's not really all that bad. It's like you start off a video game, you kill slimes to level up for your first 5 or 6 levels, and then you just one hit them and don't even think twice about it. This kid becomes friends with him, creates hundreds of thousands of slimes that he ends up controlling, and I really hope there's a second season. Like I think the knowledge that he gained from studying the lowly slime would put him up there as maybe one of the more creative and semi-powerful isekai protagonists out there that nobody ever paid attention to or gave him credit for. I don't think he could beat Rimaru Tempest, or he might be able to take Diablo.
Mm-hmm.
Might be able to take, Kazuma or Subaru. He might even be able to take Ainz Ogon, because Ainz, as scary as he is body, he's really this gamer who's like, I don't know what to do. Demiurge is the brains behind that operation.
Mm-hmm.
So this kid could be in the running up there, but nobody, I think, really ever gave the show a chance. So if you're watching this, if you haven't seen By the Grace of the Gods, check it out. It's pretty creative. You can see a little hint of a love story starting between two young kids, but you'd have to wait till if there's a second season or how far the manga or light novel that it's based off of goes. What about you? Number 8.
I'm gonna have to go a little mainstream per se, and I'm gonna have to give this one to Kazuma from Konosuba, of course.
Of course.
How can you not at least laugh or at least admire this character? The situation in which he died is absolutely laughable and very terrible. Because dying from thinking you got hit by a truck versus actually getting hit by the truck. Well, actually, I take it back. It was a tractor. What he thought was a truck turned out to be a tractor, and what he thought he got hit by, he just died of shock instead. But in the show, he is talented, at least, even if he does use his skills in the most perverse and sneaky ways sometimes. His advocacy for true gender equality is quite formidable. And all around, he kind of keeps the sanity in the group, as crazy as he is. I don't know how I could put up with Aqua and Darkness in the same room.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because honestly, it's him and Megumin that keep that group sane despite Megumin's love for explosions.
And despite the situation that he got thrown in, it still is. He's got more willpower to deal with the BS than I think people give him credit for.
Pretty much. I mean, anyone, like I said, anyone who can be with Darkness and Aqua and maintain their sanity, kudos to them.
And as perverted as he is in the rap he gets, I think Darkness might be even more twisted.
Of course.
Aqua's still just useless.
Yep, and Megumin is awesome. And Chamosuke is just, yeah.
Union is cute, but I would still take Megumin over Union. Union's kind of annoying.
But she's cute and lonely.
So, number 7 on the list And like I had to go through a lot. Like I think I had like 25 isekais written down that I had seen, and I know there's a lot more that I had seen that I forgot about. And I was trying to figure out where to put some of these. And just picture yourself. You're just kind of hanging out by yourself, not minding your own business, and suddenly, boom, you're struck by lightning and killed. Next thing you know, you're zapped and talking to God, who feels bad because he was playing around with some lightning bolts, accidentally dropped one, and you died.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he can't bring you back to the world you came from, so he offers to send you to a new world. And you can bring with you whatever you'd like. Well, our next protagonist decided, I just want to bring my phone with me. Although that would be pointless because how would I keep in contact or keep it charged? God's like, I'll just give you all, give you all the magic you could want, and you can keep it charged that way. Of course, I'm talking about Toya from In Another World with My Smartphone. A lot of people didn't like it. I think a lot of people tried to take it too seriously and didn't appreciate the show for what it was. This is just your time-wasting, fun-loving, harem-building isekai of some guy who gets killed, decides, I want to bring my phone to another world. And yes, there have been other isekais that have followed suit since this one that included bringing a phone or some way of contacting the other world. And I mean, it's a show I wish they had put out a second season on because they built so much up with the first season. Like he's gonna have like at least I think it was 9 wives.
I believe so.
And you only got to see like 5 of them or 6 of them in the first season. So it's like so much more building up that it needs to do. So definitely, I had to put Toya on the list because what can I say? I love the show. A lot of people gave it crap, but I really think that was a he's deserving of being on the list. And number 7 for you, Darren.
Number 7. Let's see. I think I will have to give it to Mr. I'm gonna play a video game until the server shut down and then find myself trapped in said world. Of course, I'm talking about the guy who makes no plans and his subordinate is always coming up with the plans, Mr. Ainzul from Overlord.
Of
Because
course.
why not?
Of course, we have Ainzulgun, and we're not talking about the little orange cat sleeping on the couch behind me. Now, I will give Ainz this much, and I will have him as an honorable mention, but he didn't make my top 10. I mean, it was a fun show. There were some great characters. I love the fact that Albedo is so infatuated with him that she has kept herself true, even though she's a succubus. But still, I might put him 11th on the list, and a lot of you out there might be smacking your forehead, going, "Why did I put somebody like Toya, Ryoma, or Reiji ahead of Ainz?" The character was fun. He relies on his subordinates so much, though, and takes the credit for it. It's like you are the ruler of demons. You are the number one badass of an anime, yet you can't think for yourself, and everything has to come through people, all of your underlings that give you credit for the stuff they come up with. I that's just a false front. In this country, we call it politics. And I'm gonna get some shit for that, but I don't care.
It's true though.
It is. It's like, okay, well, you guys come up with the ideas. I'll make sure that it all happens, and I'll take all the credit.
That's also called when you get a patent and someone wants to license it.
Pretty much. But I think we've had a solid list going so far.
I'll admit, with him, I kind of lean toward all the support he got. But at the same time, the fact that he does make decisions for himself every now and then and also manages to stay away from everybody that tries to seduce him somehow is also at least worthy of notice
Well,
because
yeah,
most of the others try somewhat give in to their desires and normally get pummeled for it. Him, other way around.
I think that's also where his shut-inness and from when he was alive in his own time is what's kept him basically afraid of interacting with females.
Mm-hmm.
He's afraid of the unknown. Number 6 on the list. Like I said, I had to do a lot of thinking because there were a lot of really good shows out there, and this is a show I had, and for my list, I had to separate the protagonists from the show. I had to look at them for who they were, not just whether or not I enjoyed the show. And this, even though I love this show, I wish that they would. I wish they would continue dubbing it. I know only the first season's been dubbed, and I think you know which show I'm talking about, Darren.
I most definitely do.
But there's 4 seasons of this. It's got one of the best tsundere characters in anime. But Saito from Familiar Zero. The fact that this poor guy gets sucked into another world while basically walking down the street. He loses his computer, he loses everything he had. Next thing he knows, he lands in a world where he doesn't understand the language. All of these weirdly dressed people are staring at him holding sticks. And he's forced to kiss this pink-haired girl who looks disgusted that she summoned him. Through it all, he starts basically building somewhat of his own harem without trying. He does have a head on his shoulders. He is smart. He does have a brain, and he's able to figure a lot of things out as the storyline goes. And he's just a fun character. Like if I think about like some of the people on this list that we've talked about, this is probably the one that I would want. Like if it was a real person, I would hang out with Saito because he seems like just like a genuinely cool guy. Tanya, I'd be afraid of. She'd probably kill me instantly. Ryoma's a kid. It's like, nah, I could probably learn a lot. Reiji, some of the others that are on the list, might be fun to hang out with as well. But I think Saito is the one that'd be like, dude, I just want to hang out with Saito because he seems chill and seems like a cool guy just to chat and just become good friends with. He seems like the kind of guy that you could become like best friends for life with. Number 6 on your list.
I'm going to have to give this to more than one character because this duo is basically a character in their own right. Being masters, shut-ins, and very good at games and problem solving in general, this is going to go to Sora and Shiro from No Game, No Life. Probably some of the smartest and most perceptive people in Isekai anime.
Yeah, they are definitely a formidable duo.
And a show that we hope will one day maybe see the light of day again. because the show is kind of a unique art to it, and the story is actually pretty good. And the characters are very enjoyable and have plot behind them.
The story would be fantastic if they could continue it, because they've left you on such a cliffhanger that it's like, come on now, we need to see what happens, because they only talk about one or two races in that first season, and then they put a movie out. It's like, okay, cool, the movie's gonna show what happens next. No, it shows what happened beforehand.
It showed everything leading up to where we are now,
which kind of was disappointing in a way. I won't lie.
It was disappointing, but at the same time, I enjoyed it, and it made me tear up a little bit.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I loved the fact that they did it, and it was neat to see more of the behind the scenes of what led them to where they ended up.
And of course, everyone loves seeing baby Jabril.
Yeah,
because she's best girl in that show.
In fact, I still have my Jabril wallet.
Oh wow!
I got that from. I wasn't an Aki Bento, but I got it from one of the anime boxes, and that's the wallet I use every day. I'll go to Walmart or Sam's Club or anywhere that I go to make a purchase. I pull out a Jabril wallet. Tell me that doesn't scream nerd.
I have a Jabril T-shirt.
So, but yeah, I forgot. Did I even write that series down? I think I did. Did I? Actually, I did not write that one down on my list, and it's one I had seen. It's one I'd forgotten about. I mean, they definitely, if I had thought about it beforehand, they probably would have made the list, because they are a very formidable duo.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, and this is one I did write down, but I did not put it in there. But you would have the trio from Problem Children would fit into that category too.
Izuyoi, Asuka, and why can't I ever remember the other one?
I don't know. But we are now hitting the top 5. Is this exciting for you, Darren?
Kind of, yeah.
Hopefully, people out there, hopefully you guys are having fun with this list. Like I said, let us know some of your favorites on the list. Let us know some of your favorite Isekai protagonists in the chat. Number 5 on my list is one that you've already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that, granted he was thrown into a crappy situation, but man, did he have the nerve to think on his feet after being laughed at by a stupid goddess. To be like, you're coming with me to this other world. So, Kazuma, tip of the hat to you for putting that stupid girl in her place.
Yep, and the other gods being so quick to approve it.
He's like, well, you said I could bring any... Like, he may be a pervert. He may have a lot of crappy luck and bad things that happen to him. But man, was he good at thinking on his feet. Like, I was like, I like this guy right from episode 1. Yeah, he died in a bad way. Yeah, he got made fun of for the way he died. But he gave Aqua the biggest middle finger when he's like, well, you come with me. And the other goddesses are like, bye. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. So, hats off to Kazuma. That's probably one of the main reasons I had to put him on the list.
Of course.
Number 5 for you.
Okay, this definitely has to be one of the biggest outcasts in any of the isekai that have shown up. He gets summoned to another world to be a hero, and he gets the one power or one weapon that no one cares about, but ends up going out of his way and ends up becoming one of the well, actually, he becomes the strongest hero of the four, and I'm talking about Naofumi from Rising of the Shield Hero. The whole kingdom turns on him because of the princess and her father, the king, not liking the shield for whatever reason. And he becomes an outcast. He starts doing pretty much anything necessary to survive, earning him a very bad reputation among pretty much anybody. Always getting into it with the other heroes whenever they cross paths. But all in all, he's one of the more rational and calm characters of the bunch of Isekai protagonists. And he works on improving himself to be quite powerful. Granted, he's not the strongest in the series, but he's slowly getting there.
And he ends up with like somebody who's very much waifu consideration, waifu material with Raftalia.
Yes, if you're into the anthropomorphic, well, Raftalia is a very good choice. I mean, how can you not admit that's adorable?
I mean, she's a very adorable character. I won't lie. I've seen a lot of people give love to Raftalia, especially in waifu tier lists and stuff. She's always either S or A tier from, I think I've seen like 4 or 5 different videos where people have done the tier lists.
She's no holo, but she is up there.
And Kaya says she is waifu material. So, number 4 on the list is from a fun little series that recently just had a second season that came out. And you know, I think a lot of us who are Isekai fans or dream to be isekai'd, or if it was real or things like that, would want to end up in a situation where after you get summoned into another world, you get kissed by 2 very cute girls, an elf girl and a cat girl. Of course, we're talking about Diablo from How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. I mean, you can't tell me, Darren, that if you ended up in his situation where you're summoned into basically your video game created world, and you are first greeted and kissed on the cheek by Rem and the elf chick there, I forget her name, you wouldn't be happy.
I would be.
Plus, he has some of the funniest one-liners that just come out. So hats off to the producer and the voice actor in the English dub for allowing him to come up with lines like, I might make Messi pass out, her yum-yums are on my arm, just the random stuff like that puts him very high on my list.
Shea L. Greenwood.
That's it, Shira.
Shera L. Green. I just remembered there was a meme that asked how old Shera was, and it was like 14, and like convert elf years to human years, and she was legal.
And that anime was really funny, especially when it came to the episode where Shira was kidnapped by her brother, who in the English dub, and you can go back and when we had Jeremy Inman on the show, and when we had Stephen Fu on the show, they both confirmed that it took 1 take for Stephen to scream like a girl as Shira's brother when he ran out to realize his forest was on fire and elves are guardians of the forest. So that was, hats off to them for all of that, because that was absolutely hysterical. But I couldn't leave Diablo off the list because I love that anime too much. And with the addition of Horn, another cute bunny girl in season 2, I mean, I still like my dragons and cat girls, but bunny girls are slowly working their way up the list, Darren. Number 4 on your list.
Number 4 is everyone's favorite squishable, pokeball, and sometimes demon lord, slime. Of course, Rimaru had to make this list somewhere.
Of course.
Because the world building and everything in slime is top tier, and Rimaru taking what he was given and figuring out what he was, befriending a dragon, and then basically eating a whole bunch of mana, or the equivalent of it, magicules, and then starting to build his own kingdom and knowing how to build a kingdom on top of that, or basically knowing how to build an economy based off of what he saw, is quite impressive. And I have to give props to him for that.
Oh, yeah.
And also the fact that he asks his friend to delete his browser history has got to be one of the funniest parts of the show, even though it was like the first episode it happened.
I know. My dying wish, delete my browser history. I don't want people to know how much of a degenerate I really am.
The guy literally threw his computer in the bathtub.
And
of course, he's surrounded by waifu tier characters, and also other very strong characters besides himself.
oh, yeah. I think anybody who does a top 10 Isekai protagonist list needs to have Rimaru on there. We haven't gotten to him on my list yet, but he is there. Surprisingly, Rimaru is only the second one that you and I will have shared.
Wow.
This next protagonist, well, be it, she gets summoned into another world very precariously due to the fact that she is basically bored in the world that she lives in. She's rich. She doesn't go to school. Basically, her grandfather blackmails her and saying, I will stop paying or co-signing for your apartment, and you will lose your place to live if you don't come and visit me. She then engulfs herself in a video game where she is then sucked into said game and is forced to pick a chest. And inside said chest is an item that she will have to carry. And if you know things like in the Minecraft world, it would have a cursive binding on it, so you wouldn't really be able to not have that item on you or with you at all times. Although said item is very, very strong, it is kind of different type of item. It is a bear suit. Of course, Yoona from Kuma 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 Bear had to make my list with how much I love this show. It is so... It sounds weird to say. This is a cute, wholesome style show where this little 15-year-old girl in a bear outfit can go out and kick ass with some of the cutest side characters you'll see. I would almost put her 2 bears that she summons in a similar category with Syrup, the turtle from Bofuri, because they are adorable.
Knowing how much you love turtles, that's surprising.
I mean these characters are pretty cute. I won't lie. The side, I forget what the bears, what she calls them. I forget what their names are. Let's see here. Trying to see because they have long names, and I'm trying to find. It's like Kumako or Kumiyari or something. I forget. I forget what the names of the bears are that she. What the names of the bears are. And I can't. And looking through the site here, I cannot find it, which you would think I would be able to, but maybe I can find some pictures I can show of her riding the bears. But I had to include her. I couldn't not have Yoona on the list.
Very nice.
Here we go. Let's see here. If I do this, I do DS. I move this tab up here. I think that now shows. So there she is with her two bears. So she summons both of those bears out of her glove. Like I said, they're cute bears, so I that's why I would put them right up there with Syrup. Number 3 on your list.
Of course, this one had to make the list. Her personality is downright straightforward, devious, and cunning. Of course, she used to be a salaryman, so work your life away kind of guy. Until one day, an angry employee that had recently gotten fired by him was pushed out in front of a train and hit by said train. But before that happened, God intervened and basically wanted to give this individual a second chance on life after finding out he was a non-believer. And basically, we have an infant born into a world in the midst of a war, and that, of course, is Miss Tanya Dobrachov.
I love how you and I had the same picture for her, and we're in like two separate locations looking at two different things.
Well, how's this?
The crazy thing about that one is she kind of looks adorable until she gets that smile and scary look in her face.
Pretty much.
It's like, oh, she's a cute little girl. Oh, she's an evil little bitch. But she is very deadly, and like I said, she's another one that had to appear on our lists. So surprisingly, now we have 3 that have been on each other's lists. I'm curious to see if there's any more. We got 2 more to go. And number 2 on my list, like I said, this character has to appear on the list somewhere. And it would be a crime if this, guy who gets stabbed trying to save his friend and his friend's girlfriend, who gets summoned into another world, as Darren says, delete my files. Of course, Rimaru Tempest has to make the list. Again, like High School DxD, if we were doing world building animes, like a top 10 animes for world building and character development, this show would be right up there with DxD. And fans of Anime-Zing Radio know Darren and I both have talked up DxD a ton. The character development in this is a little less than what you would find in DxD, but the world building, I think, beats DxD. The fact that it's not just like the world of demons and everything. The fact that they bring in so many different monster types in to create a community of monsters to live and work together, all because of a overpowered slime.
I can kind of say in this regard, you haven't seen anything yet because Slime has kind of delved more into the novels, I think, than DxD has, simply for the fact DxD, the world building that you're seeing is just the tip of the iceberg. But that's all you have to go on. So, in the sense of what's been released in anime form, I would totally agree with you. And they're honestly, they are two of the best world building shows out there, in my opinion, that I have seen.
I might say that they're two of the best world building shows ever. And there are so many shows out there that do a good job at it. And then there are so many shows like, was it World End? What are you doing at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save us? That's a series that they easily could have made 26 episodes to get through what they crammed into 12 or 13. They easily could have made multiple seasons out of it, and they left you on a cliffhanger going, what happens next to these characters? Granted, it's not an isekai. It was still like the characters were lovable. It was fun to see what was going on. You know, the main female character in the show undergoes a transformation of sorts when her hair goes from blue to red. And you get to see some interesting things, but they just leave you off on a cliffhanger. And the story felt like they rushed it so much to fit in. Like it felt like they put way too much in too short of a time, that they could have made it better by dragging it out. Which is weird to say when we've talked so much about shows like My Hero Academia, Fairy Tail, some of these shonen shows where they will take an arc that could have been 1 or 2 episodes and turn it into a whole season.
Or be Dragon Ball and take a 2-minute fight and turn it, or a 2 or 10-minute fight and turn it into 6 and 7 episodes.
Exactly. So that, getting back on topic, that is why Rimaru is on my list. I saw one person, looking back at the list and all the shows, there's one person that I feel beat out Sadao for best protagonist in Isekai. Number 2 on your list.
A fairly recent show, actually, and that is going to be Miss Kumako from So I'm a Spider. So what? Look at the cute little spider.
My wife really enjoyed this one. She's mad at me because I haven't seen more than just one episode.
Well,
I mean, at least I've seen one.
You have a class where something happens and they're all reincarnated into another world. You have this one person, and not all of them are reincarnated as humans. Some of them are reincarnated as animals, as monsters. This particular individual gets reincarnated as a spider. The story begins with her hatching out of an egg. And then she starts witnessing cannibalism among her brothers and sisters by the hundreds and thousands. And we have a survival story for this little spider trying to survive. As she grows, she learns what's going on around her in the sense that she's a spider and she's got to deal with it. And starts basically trying to grow and make her own life. She does have a mother, which she doesn't like. Stuff happens. She finds out about somebody else, or somebody else, I should say, finds out about her and doesn't like her either. And they start clashing here and there. And then eventually we get to the main part of the story. Because just really not to spoil anything, but there's technically two storylines going on in the show throughout the show. That's all I'm going to leave it at.
So if you want to find out more, go check out So I'm a Spider. So what?
It was really a really good show.
Which I had to laugh because I actually used that line at work the other day because there are quite a few cobwebs around the dealerships. But with the weather starting to get cooler up here in the northeast, spiders, insects, animals are looking for warmer areas to go to. And I've seen some pretty nice looking cobwebs and some big cobwebs around some of the poles and things like that. And one of my coworkers had walked up on my bay door. There's on one of the windows, a spider had made a web, and it actually caught a couple of things in there. And one of my coworkers was like, oh my God, there's a spider. What's that doing there? I'm like, so I'm a spider. So what? Just leave it be. But then I started stickering to myself, and they looked at me like it was weird. I'm like, sorry, it's an anime title.
And then let me guess, they were like, oh, now I get it.
They just shook their head and walked away.
I wonder what they were shaking their head at. The fact that that's actually an anime title, or the fact that you actually said that?
Probably both. Probably the fact that I was actually able to use a ridiculous anime title in a real life circumstance, and it made sense.
Oh my!
I mean, that in and of itself, I was proud of. So I won't lie. I was proud of that one. Here we are, number 1 on our lists. Who do we feel is our favorite protagonist from the Isekai genre? For me, very, very few anime fall into the category of this next one. This is one that I will probably forever have as a top 5 Isekai anime. And I know we've listed tonight a lot of really good shows. We've listed some shows you may have never heard of or may not have even given a second glance to because you don't like Isekai or whatever. This is cutting edge, and this is a little bit of an older anime, but if it had come out within the last year or two, we'd be looking at season 5, not just season 2 coming out. Of course, I am referring to the great demon himself, Satan, also known as Sadao Mao, from The Devil is a Part-Timer. A story where Satan, in a world of chaos and war, escapes through a portal and ends up in modern-day Tokyo. Not being able to speak the language and dressed in funny clothes, he's accompanied by his right-hand man, Daciel, and has to figure out how to, A, learn the language, B, figure out how to make do in Japan, and then discovers he needs to get a part-time job while his, second in command becomes his housewife. I don't know another way of putting it other than it has to become a housewife. The hero, Amelia, who is his archenemy, follows him through the portal, ends up becoming a telemarketer. Goes from this gallant knight, so you have the ruler of demons ends up working part-time at basically a McDonald's. And the hero who's there to destroy him gets a job as a telemarketer, one of the most hated jobs by everybody.
Pretty much. You get the guy that's trying to build a life, and then you got the hero who tries to save lives in the business that will sometimes destroy lives.
And of course, through it all, you get the fun side characters. Of course, Chiho is one of the cutest side characters. And I know a lot of people ship Chiho and Sadao from this series.
Mm-hmm. Because she's too honest and pure.
And really, it's a great series. I was extremely excited, and as you heard a few weeks ago, Anthony Bowling was beside himself when he found out that a season 2 really was going to happen. So I couldn't leave. I could not have Sadao on not be on this list. And I mean, you saw the other 9 that were on there, and of course we'll get to some honorable mentions if we have time. But number 1 on your list, Darren.
Really quickly on that note, I didn't put that one on there because I considered it a reverse isekai, and I was under the impression we were only doing standard isekai, so he did not end up on my list for that reason. Had it had reverse isekai been a part of it, I probably would have put him on there.
I just figured isekai in general, reverse, that was my understanding.
Okay, well, oh well.
Also, we didn't communicate whether or not reverse was allotted.
Well,
so
about to say it don't matter at this point, so because that was the only reverse on there because there's not many reverse in the first place.
So number 1 on Darren's list.
Of course, the badass himself. He's technically one of 3 main protagonists, and you had mentioned him earlier. He's the character I would probably cosplay as.
The bunny?
That. What was that?
The bunny girl?
Sure, why not?
You'd cosplay as her?
No, I'm about to say
Nico. You'd cosplay as Nico. I got it.
No, I'd cosplay the one that chases after the bunny girl. They play a nice little game of tag.
Of course it is.
Izuyoi Sakamaki. One of the most overpowered badasses in the isekai genre. And honestly, I think if this show had come out a little bit later on down the road, we probably would be getting to see the full adaptation of it. Because I've heard the light novels for this series are really good, and he is quite powerful. He's at least star level.
Interesting. That could be a top 10 list that we could do down the line or something. As to which characters we think are more powerful than others and why and stuff. We could have some more fun with little side games and things.
I would put some restrictions on that with certain shows being off the list. Goku.
Yeah, we would have to bring it down to like the non-mainstream animes, the more diehard fan anime things. Get rid of like Dragon Ball and One Piece, and if it's got more than 1,000, if it's got more than like 200 episodes, it doesn't count.
Well, to be honest with you, probably 2 of the strong. Well, in terms of long-running shows, of course, you got the whole Dragon Ball franchise. One Piece is maybe country class at best. Then, of course, Fairy Tail. You got, I would say, a country at best between Acnologia and Zeref. So a lot of these long-running shows, for the most part, you really don't have super, super, super powerful characters, except for the Dragon Ball series, and I think the Tenchi Muyo series.
Yeah, but it would be fun to see,
or Saint Seiya.
But you're thinking about it, like the intelligence of Ryoma from By the Grace of the Gods, even though being 10, he knows a ton about slimes. Put him up against the intelligence of Rimaru. That would be an interesting battle.
What about the intelligence of Azusa from the other slime?
Potentially, but she just wanted to relax.
True. But you got to remember, she actually did her research on quite a few things, and it came very natural to her.
Oh yeah. So it'd be a fun game to play down the road. And like I said, honorable mentions. You could put Azusa on there. You could put Katarina Klaus from My Next Life is Villainous.
I forgot about that one.
I'm surprised you didn't have her on the list. I thought for sure you were gonna, because that was a big one for you.
She was smart, but that Isekai was far from my favorite.
Sorry, Anthony, but Saya didn't make it.
In terms of intelligence, yeah, she was kind of on the and cautious hero. No offense, it was good. Don't get me wrong, but Konosuba was way better to me.
Yeah, I mean, Saya was a good character, but it took so long to figure out why he was the way he was that for some of it, he just seemed very annoying.
Pretty much.
And it was like, dude, okay, we understand. You want to be ready to beat this, but you go into overkill mode. You could have beaten this and saved lives like 3 hours ago. You almost felt as if that, like, there were times I almost felt bad for the useless goddess in that, just because he took longer to prepare than a woman getting ready to go out.
I almost kind of feel bad for his enemies for the most part, because they got annihilated before they knew what hit them.
Well, there was no suffering there. Other people I did have on my list, and this one may surprise you. Ernesty from Knights and Magic. I forgot that was technically an isekai.
I didn't forget, but Ernesty was just because of his playfulness and ingenuity. I could see that one.
Another one I had written down, of course, was Kunai from Demon Lord Retry. And a show that doesn't really get thought of much as an isekai, even though it's a very early isekai. It kind of, because there is, granted, the main character can go back and forth between worlds. Inuyasha with Kagome. I still classify that as an isekai because she spends more time in that series in feudal era than she does in her home time, even though they can go back and forth. So that was another one that had made the list of shows I had watched and stuff I had thought about. What else is on here that I didn't mention?
My whole thing was I was going to throw out Isekai Quartet as a whole, because 3 of the characters from it made my list, but the 4th one, which made neither of our lists, because unfortunately, suffering is his only quality.
I laughed because I was like, I wonder if he's going to make Darren's list, because he didn't make mine. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that Subaru didn't make either of our lists. And the other 3 made both of our, or no, Eins didn't make mine.
Well,
Eins didn't make mine, but
Tanya was well written enough to make a list, and Kazuma is a classic.
Pretty much. Kazuma was very much a classic, and Heroes Will Be Dispatched. I think it was that Anthony was talking about. I started watching that one. Combatants Will Be Dispatched. Thank you. And that you can tell was written by the same person who wrote Konosuba, because there's a lot of similarities. And I will state right now, I don't think it will ever get the popularity that Konosuba got, because it feels too close like a carbon copy of Konosuba.
Well, Also, Konosuba got a lot of reputation because of the studio that did it, Studio Dean.
And that might be something fun to do down the list too. Is look at some of the Japanese studios that produce the animes and pick some of our favorites from specific studios.
Madhouse. Studio Madhouse is hands down one of my favorite studios.
So that could be something that we look into in the future. And a big hello out there to Mario, who's in the chat room. I don't know how long you've been here. If you have enjoyed our top 10 list of our favorite Isekai protagonists, if you've got some of your own, throw them in the chat. Let us see who some of your favorite Isekai protagonists are. Of course, we are two Isekai trash guys. We love our Isekais. We say that we're not going to watch one. We're going to take a break, and we fall right back into it.
Yep.
And when I tried taking a break, Darren's like, "You've got to watch this Demon Lord retry." After 6 weeks of hounding, I did watch it. And of course, we found many guests since then because of it.
You're welcome.
Bunny. Yeah.
Thanks.
But for as far as shows that we're keeping up with, what have you been watching, and what are you excited about coming out for the fall?
Unfortunately, I haven't had time to really watch anything. Now I gotta remember what I've been watching. I need to catch up on Jahi, the other reverse isekai, just from a female perspective.
In Jahi's case, I think I agree with I think it was Gegek who went. She goes from waifu to lolly in like seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Like in her true form with the magic, you could see people putting her in an A or S tier waifu list. As a lolly, you're like, what happened? Little kid's annoying. And what else are you? I know you said you got to catch up on Jahi. Have you caught up on Dragon Maid or Slime or any of those yet?
Yes, I finished Dragon Maid. Toru. Definitely obsessed.
I will say this much. Next Sunday, we are having a Dragon Maid special where we're going to be focusing mainly on the series Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. We still only have Christy Rothrock confirmed for the show. I have reached out to multiple other voice actors from the show, have not heard back from others yet. Anything could happen between now and then, so if we can get more, great. If not, we are excited about having Christy join us. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk with probably the best dragon in the show. It gets introduced episode 1, season 2. I love Ilulu. She has quickly become my favorite dragon in the show. Kana is adorable, but very childish. Toru is just Toru. Fafnir is just like the ultimate otaku.
That's an understatement.
Like he takes otaku-ness to a whole new level.
He's almost a NEET.
Pretty much, and because he's a dragon, he could stay up for days without sleep. He's not happy until he completes every game and gets every item in said game. And I'm correct about that, apparently.
You are.
And of course, Elma she's cute in her own way, but she is such a ditz. I will say that there's something wrong with Psycho, even though Psycho is not a dragon. There's just something wrong with that girl. The voice actors who voice her in both Japanese and English do a phenomenal job at making her as obnoxious as she is.
Well, her and Toru get along so well, so what do you expect?
Yeah.
But
And season 2 really like there were points in season 2 of Dragon Maid, and we'll touch more about this next week, where things kind of went from the goofy typical Dragon Maid show to there was some serious stuff that was touched on. There was almost some feels in season 2. I was kind of surprised by that. It caught me off guard.
And also it was kind of revealed the size of some of the dragons. I never realized just how large Lukoa actually was once she fully stretches out.
And I have to laugh at Ilulu, Kobayashi's like, can't she like make those things smaller? And Toru's like, well, she's already holding back quite a bit just to have them that size. And hats off to Leah Clark, who in the English dub, who voices Kobayashi, whose character had to smack Lulu's boobs and tell her to get those things off of me. I'm a woman. So a lot of fun there. Mario's hearing us talk about Kobayashi's Dragon Maid special next week, says, I'll be there. I hope so. I'll be there.
Yeah. I'll be there. I'll be around.
We could do so many damn songs with just I'll be there and end up getting this copyright claim, so we won't do that anymore.
Oh man. You know that if it's less than so many seconds or percentage of the video marked as educational, it's all right?
Yeah, but how educational are we?
I don't know. We're getting very good insight into the anime world, so pretty educational, I'd say. I mean, if you want to learn how to be a weeb, watch us.
Pretty much, we're a good example that anybody can do this.
Pretty much. You have a guy that's got literally no radio experience here that's been doing this for almost 3 years, and you got another guy
who's got no formal training in radio or media, that's been doing this show 7.5 years and internet radio for 15 years now, between 10 and 15 years. Holy crap, I've been doing this a while.
Almost
I would know what I was doing.
I'm about to say, almost like you know what you're doing.
I ain't got a clue. And it's funny, we're here in October. We haven't even really talked much Halloween or spooky stuff. But to think that my radio career, my internet radio / podcast career started because of paranormal talk shows.
And on that note, I kind of wanted to do like a top 10 horror type thing, but I don't think I'd seen enough really horror shows to do a top 10 out of it. What about you?
Does Conception count as horror?
Yes, that is definitely
because it was horrible,
About to say it was horrible and horrible, literally.
I don't watch the horror genre really. Like it for me, the horror anime I have seen would be things like Ghost Stories, Death Parade, which I started, Dead Man Wonderland.
And that's not really even horror. That's more psychological than anything.
And then there's Dead Man Wonderland that I had seen some of, and Soul Eater, if you want to count that, but that's more comedy than horror. That's about it.
It's about it. I consider that a Halloween anime strictly because of Blair.
Yeah. And Blair was a cute character. She did make that show fun.
Of course.
I think that's another Leah Clark character, actually. I think Leah Clark did Blair in that. Let me look.
She's like, I'm not a witch. I'm just a cat with an insane amount of magic.
Yep, Leah Clark.
Wow.
So I was correct. We've talked a lot about Leah tonight with Kobayashi and Blair.
Kind of funny how she can be such a carefree character like Blair and then voice a very serious character like Kobayashi.
I find it funny that Miss Kobayashi was included in the Smash or Trash on Tuesday, and we all said Smash.
Let's see, she's in her 30s, I think, and she's still single.
That's because she just worked so hard. But all of us were like, yeah, we'd hit that.
Yeah, flat chested or not.
And I know I forgot to tell you, but some of the listeners for that show, if you go back and see the views of the people of how many people have checked it out, and I forget what the number's at. I got to go back and look real quick. But I actually had coworkers who went and checked it out because I told them about Julia and some of the comments that she had made. So 18 views on the 18 plus Smash or Trash. Like I said, if you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out. It was really, really fun. We had a lot of fun doing that. We want to do more games like that. And Mario in the chat says, I mean, Kobayashi is beautiful and a tomboy. So
I'm saying I kind of like tomboys myself.
There's just something like she seems like she would be like nobody would ever put her on a waifu tier list based off of looks alone. But when you add in the personality and just being who she is, it's like, to me, Kobayashi being herself, not drunk. Drunk Kobayashi is obnoxious. But when she is, her normal self, I would put her as an A tier waifu. Maybe S tier, but I'd lean more towards A tier waifu.
Mm-hmm. Plus, she comes off as a motherly figure to people that don't really know her because of Kana.
And then Alulu. She's able to basically calm Alulu down.
True.
She basically gives Alulu the ultimatum of, will you let me fool you? And Alulu's like, yeah. Mommy. I agree with you, Mario. Nobody would add her on a waifu tier list. But really, she would be up there. She would be that hidden gem.
I can agree to that.
But on that note, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We've had so much fun talking about our top 10 favorite Isekai protagonists. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Of course, big thank you to our sponsors, Home Circle Media and Casey Fox. Also, if you're down in the Riley area, be sure to check out Darren's landscaping business.
Yes. Need your yard done? Give me a call for Triple S Lawn Care.
You gotta get the plugs out there for Darren as well. That way he can only work one job and still be able to make as much money as he does working two, which would give him more free time to watch more anime and come up with more crazy ideas like Smash or Trash. Until next week, when we have our Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid special with special guest. Special guest. Ooh, I can talk.
I thought you said special breast.
It would be fitting, but based off the character. But our special guest, Christy Rothrock, is going to be joining us. We are excited to chat with her for the first time, so you definitely want to check that out as we have the voice of Ilulu joining us. Until then, have a wonderful week. Keep watching those shows. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We want to hit 200 subscribers as fast as we can so we can get one of you lucky fans in the co-host seat for a voice actor interview in the future. Until then, have a wonderful night, and we will see you next Sunday.